what's going on for today? Stick around, I'll show you.
Welcome to 3D Accuracy, where I'll talk about 3D printing, 3D product design, and 3D injection and die-cast mold design.
Actually, the reality is not very much is going on. I mentioned the other day that I thought I had an air leak in the air compressor. So what happened was, after I ended the video, the machine was running and the air compressor kept turning on and then turned off and kept turning on and off. Well, it got to the point where it was just running. It wasn't turning off. And I realized air must be leaking faster than air can be supplied. And what happened was, once the pressure got down to a certain point inside the machine, in the pressure gauge here, once it got down to a certain point, it just automatically shut the machine down. So it just turned everything off. So I thought, okay, I got to find and fix this leak because it's not going to work until that's done. So what I did was, I took the airline off, this blue airline, I disconnected it, turned the air compressor on, let it get a full charge of air in there, let it get up to maximum pressure, and then I turned it off and just let it sit. And the following day I came out and looked, and it was still holding a charge. So holding all the pressure rather. So I knew the air compressor is okay. I attached the hose. I attached the air hose here on this end. I removed it from the back of the printer on that end. And then I let it set for the whole day yesterday while I was out working in the yard. And I came back in the evening, and sure enough, it was still holding the pressure. So then I knew, okay, the air compressor is good and the line is good. Then I plugged the line into the back of the 3D printer, and within 10 minutes, the gauge started dropping, and within an hour and a half, it was down. There was no pressure in the tank. So somewhere, either the connection between this connector, the male and the female, there's a leak, or there's a leak somewhere inside the machine. Now, I know some of the airlines run in here on the left-hand side of the machine. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to call Stratasys and see what kind of information they can give me about what I should be looking for. But basically what I think I'm going to have to do is go from the airline there on that side and just trace the system and see if I can find the leak. Now, the problem is, to turn on the machine, although I know I have the leak even when the machine is off, so I probably don't have to turn on the machine. I just need to fill this up with compressed air so that I can try to locate the leak. Yeah, so I shouldn't have to turn it on, because when that idler motor is going, you've seen in the past videos how noisy it is. There's no way I can hear the leak. I'm not going to hear the the air escaping anything. But I'll just have to get in there and trace the system. I would guess that it's at some sort of a juncture where a hose slips onto a fitting kind of a thing, and the hose is maybe dry rotted and needs to be replaced, something like that. But anyway, the machine won't run for more than, I think I had it going for 15 or 20 minutes the other day before it shut itself down. It won't run. There's nothing I can really do with it until I find the air leak problem and get it fixed. Tomorrow morning, I'll check with Stratasys when they're in the office, and then we'll dig into the project and see what we can find. We're going to open up the machine, and hopefully I find a leak. I hope it's simple. Just, needs a new little rubber hose. Run up the corner to Ace Hardware, get a little rubber hose, put it in there, and bingo, we're all done. That would be cool, wouldn't it? I would like that. I would like that. Okay, so let's see what happens. I talked to Stratasys, and they said, yeah, there's probably a leak in the system somewhere. You just have to trace it and see if you can find it. They also recommended either getting some matches, some stick matches, so that you can hold it near the connections and see if it blows it off, or get some incense, something that makes smoke, so that you can hold it in there and see, the air moving the smoke. Otherwise, it might be difficult to find the leak because they're often very minimal. So Anyway, and I found that to be true. I went in there and I checked it, manually. I turned on the air compressor, let it get fully charged up with air, full of air, compressed air. And then I started going through the little connections and feeling and touching and trying to see if I could find where the leak was, and I couldn't find it. So anyway, but there is a leak because the pressure went down in the air compressor. It came on a couple of times to fill it back up again. And as I was searching, and no luck. So tomorrow I have to run out and do a few things. So I'll see if I can pick up some incense or something that makes smoke somewhere. I don't know where the heck I would even find something like that, but I'll check with some drug stores or grocery stores or something. There's got to be something somewhere. So let me show you what it looks like anyway. I've got the machine opened up and I can show you what it looks like and what I had to do. Okay, camera in one hand, treble light in the other hand so we can see because it's dark back here. Anyway, you can see there's where the blue air hose line goes in, and that's what it looks like on the other side. I didn't find any leak here. The hoses are this kind of stiff plastic. I don't know whether it's polyethylene or polypropylene or what the heck it is. It runs up and over underneath there to the other side of the machine, and then at some point it comes back, and you see these are airlines here connected to these items. And there's basically two systems in the machine. One is the air compressor. The air compressor actually serves two functions. It uses compressed air to go on the other side of the machine here. I'll show you. This is where the main line comes from the other side. It comes over the top and down here, and then I followed this around, and it goes to this little unit here. I checked all this out, felt and was looking for a leak, but couldn't find it. But there's a miniature compressed air dryer in here. There's actually some desiccant in those chambers, and it dries the air from the air compressor. It dries it, and then it feeds it up through. There's a connection back in there. You can kind of see it where those red lines are, those red connectors are, and all those lines are going into that little, I don't know, can you see it here? Yeah, there's a little manifold like in the lines. The clear plastic lines are where the filament comes through. The filament is actually loaded in these 4 bays. Over here you can see the PC boards for the bays, and there's the lines that the filament runs up. So it pumps dry air through the filament lines to keep the filament dry while the machine is running. The other thing it does is there's a Venturi in here, a Venturi system, and I don't know which item that is. But anyway, what it does is the compressed air, as it passes through the Venturi, creates a suction, and that's where you get the vacuum from that holds the build platform down. And I'll show you what that looks like. Let me open this guy here. You see there's a build platform, this thin piece of plastic, and there's a gasket around the perimeter, and you see there's a little hole in the center where the vacuum comes from, and lines cut in it so that the vacuum can go all the way to the edges, and it sucks this little build sheet down tight against the build platform so that it can make the model. And so the air compressor actually forms two functions. It supplies dry compressed air for the filament, and it also creates the vacuum through a Venturi system to hold the build sheet down. So I've got to check these out, see if I find the leak somewhere here in one of these connections. There's also a connection up under here. You see this fitting, and behind the metal part of the frame here where these zip ties are holding, there's some other fittings over here on the other side. You can barely see them, but I got to check all those connections, and then it breaks off and it goes back over to the other side again, and that's where all of this is connected. So somewhere in here, and these go, a couple of these connections go to the gauges back there. You can see the backs of the two gauges, the pressure gauge and the vacuum gauge. So, there could be a leak somewhere there also. So I'm going to try first looking at all the easily accessible areas to see if I can easily find the leak. And if I can't, then I've got to figure out how to get inside of there and check that kind of stuff, and up where that little manifold is. So I got other places to check. But I want to start with the easy ones first and see if I get lucky. Nothing's really going to happen until I, either get something that makes smoke, some incense, or get some matches or something so that I can try to find this leak. Because it's not a heavy, fast, it's leaking, you can see it. Boy, I can feel it, the air coming out. No, it's a very slow, kind of a pinhole in a tire kind of a leak. And where the hell is the hole? One of those. And I don't want to go in there with soapy water like you would do on an inner tube or a tire or something like that. So that would not be good, to have soapy water in the machine. And I don't even want to go in there with matches, really. I'm looking for, I think incense would be the better option, in the sense that it just makes a lot of smoke. And then if there's a small poof of air coming out from someone, you'll be able to tell because it'll blow the smoke, and then you can see where it's coming from. But, yeah. So nothing's going to happen here until I find that.
I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you're ever in need of 3D product design, 3D injection mold design, 3D die-cast mold design, or 3D printed prototypes or production parts, please feel free to contact me. You can find contact information in the video description. I look forward to hearing from you and to being of service to you. Thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate it. See you on 3D Accuracy's next video.